Joy Perez. Thank you for coming to the next episode of Cocktales Cleavage. My name is Miss Locs.
And I'm Joy Perez.
And first, let me start off by apologizing for last week and missing it. Life was really life in the last week, and so it kind of got past us. As you can see, we're still in two separate households.
Patty cake, right?
No, that is not what it is. That's from Color
Oh,
Purple.
oh
Color,
shit.
yeah, you and me. You know what?
Yo, my middle came out. Okay, my bad.
Like Joey. um, so we're not drinking the same thing this evening. I just have my normal wine. And what are you drinking today out of your favorite cup?
My favorite cup is an octopus tumbler, and I'm drinking vodka and Red Bull because it's been that kind of day.
I feel that on a cellular level. Um, so we'll start off with what has happened this week. I know for me, my week was kind of slow until this weekend. Um, we had our munch, our TNG munch, which went really well per usual. There was a frog. There are just certain people that are scared of frogs, but they were able to remove the frog. It was chilling though, like it was like blending in. It was the same color as the brick wall and all of that. And I was like moving the table around, and he was like, "What's cracking?" And I was like, "Oh, you shouldn't be here." And so they removed the frog, and everything went as it should. And so we had a great evening there, and then Saturday was our uncensored very first dungeon event. And I don't know, I had a really phenomenal time. It was a little stressful. A lot of people don't understand all of the things that go on, like behind the scenes of like preparing stuff like this. Um, but we did really well. It actually, the number of tickets that we were selling, we actually sold out. Um, and upon talking to everybody after the event, it's all been really positive feedback. So I'm really excited about that aspect of it. Um, I don't know. What about you, Joy? Before I go into like how I was after, like how was it for you?
Well, let's go back to TNG. You forgot to mention that T-Pain made an appearance.
He totally did. You know what? Y'all are gonna give me another damn assignment. He don't be watching my podcast though, so I may be safe. But Bear did come to the TNG, so I was super excited.
Yeah,
I
that
was
was
like, "Oh
fun.
my god, it's a celebrity! This is so amazing!"
We're really gonna have to get him a wig now, just for shits and giggles.
Y'all gonna give it to him because I'm not even dealing with any of that.
Uh, no, but
Uh,
the dungeon night was great. How much can I share right now?
you can share whatever you want to
Okay.
share.
So I've been throwing events for a long ass time. And this was Miss Lox's first one for her to like actually be behind the scenes and doing all the like organizing and doing the things. So because we had the dungeon furniture, Beast Rebel and I got there earlier, um, because T Pain. But anyway, um, so we got the stuff in that we had, and I messaged her, and her and Ty come over, and she just like flew into the house like a bat out of hell, like, okay, what do we need to do? What's what? Blah blah blah. And she's like so frazzled, and you can just see how like stressed she was. And I just looked at her and I was like, you know what, boo? Just go get yourself together. I got this. Suge White put the furniture up already. Like, really, all we had just Mike already putting up the decorations. I told her I would handle the food. I was like, pretty much everything's done except for the food. Just go put yourself together. And she went and took a few minutes to like breathe, got herself together, came down and she was like, oh, okay. I was like, you good now?
I, it's that started for me at like 4 p.m. So like I was like walking around the house and I was like, all right, so we need this and we need that and we don't want to forget this and let me do this like, all over the place. And like Ty's like, and I'm like ironing his kilts and I'm like, pay attention to this and make sure you're watching how I'm putting it on you because that's what your submissive is supposed to be doing. And then do this. Do we have this? And he was like,
Baby, that's what lists are for.
you need to just go ahead and sit down because you're running on that anxious energy. And I was like, but what if we forget stuff?
I mean, I had a moment too because fucking Beast. Beast was like, this thing doesn't even start till 10. Why are you rushing? Why are you da 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 da? And it's not even going to take that long to set up. And I was like, look, in all the events we've ever thrown, your only job was to bring the shit and then put the furniture up. Like, you don't know how much work goes on that, I do in the other events. Like, don't tell me how much time I need to set up. I know. And then I don't want to be like rushing. I wanted to get it done and then I want to be able to like sit and breathe for a minute before I have people in my face. Like, there's a reason to the madness. And he just looked at me and he was like, okay, and just did what I asked him to do. But I was
And
like,
I was so upset. Like when you were like, yeah, I'm here, bop, 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 bop. But I'm like, we're sitting, wait, I had packed up everything. It was on like the couch and on the bed. And we're just waiting. We're just waiting for the call. And you were like, yeah, let me know when you get here. I locked the door because I'm by myself. Now I'm mad. Okay? Because I'm like, I didn't want you to have to do it by yourself. And here you are doing it by yourself. I was like, come on, Chad, we gotta go. She's
I thought
alone.
I thought you were gonna get a phone call too. I should have texted you and been like, hey, did he tell you he was on the way to the house to open it up for us? And well, now we know for next time.
Yes, because I was just, I was livid. I was like, if this is what I'm talking about, I don't know. Like when I am on a rampage, I am on a
Hmm.
rampage, and I'm like this, and I'm poor Ty. He's just keeping his head down.
Yep. I mean, that's
Get
pretty
this,
much what Beast and Rebel do.
get
Sir
this
too
stuff
when he's
together, and
here.
I'm like, this is why wouldn't somebody let me know she over there doing stuff by herself? This is a team effort. And so when we got there, we had the massage tables. And you were like, well, just go ahead, get yourself together. So I went to the massage table and picked it up to like take it up the stairs. Boy, that I felt the heat burning on the back of my head. And I turned, and this was time. But I put it down and went up the stairs. I was just like, fine, if you don't want me picking up stuff, because I'm a strong, independent woman. I can do this on my own. But if you insist, you're
Let's
fine.
talk about our ED for a minute. Yo, he came out at dungeon night with his boots on, his kilt, and he looked fly as fuck.
He
Like, he
did.
looked so good.
I was like, guess
Okay,
who that
Mr.
is?
President.
Guess who that is? In a kilt or whatever. I was so excited because he was so excited. He wanted a kilt. And the kilt that he wanted, he was like, they don't have my size. And if you let Ty tell it, he's 7,472 pounds, right? And now, mind you, I can't get in his shirts, but so I guess that makes me 7,982 pounds, right? So he had to go with a different kilt. He said, "Well, I don't know how I feel about this." But I was like, "Get the kilt. You've been wanting the kilt." I was like, "So get the kilt." So he got the kilt, and then it came in, and it came in Saturday in the morning. So what does that mean? Can't dry clean it, and here I am, all of my childhood trauma coming into play. I don't iron clothes. I don't iron clothes because trauma from childhood. And ironing that skirt was like, well,
Kilt.
kilt. I I switched up the words. I meant to say kilt. Ironing the kilt is like ironing the skirt for like, because I was in a Catholic school for a few years. Look at me now, right? But I was I was in a Catholic school for a few years, and trying to iron those pleats, those. So I was in there, and I'm like, yeah, no. Going forward, this is dry clean. We
Mm-hmm.
take it to the cleaners. They do all the things, and that's great. But we ain't had no choice because you know when stuff come in the mail, it's all crinkled and wrinkled and funky looking. And I was like, you're not going to be out here embarrassing me. And so and so as I'm talking him through it, he was like, well, he was like, okay, the shirt's in. I said, but you got it tucked all the way in. I said, so I'm gonna teach you how I was taught growing up, right? It's called blousing, right? So we're gonna blouse it out, right? Like we don't want it like tucked in. You gotta blouse
Mm-hmm.
it out. He was like, blouse it out. I was like, blouse it out. It makes a difference. So he was like, okay, okay. I said, and make sure you come regimented because people gonna check. So
I sure the fuck did check. As soon as he came downstairs, I was like, I need a kilt flip real quick. Make sure this is on right. I got you, Eileen. I got you.
boom, just so you know, we did. She did check, Eileen. I mean, like I saw him put it on, but know that it was checked and it was certified. He had it done correctly. Oh, and for those that don't know what all of that is, can you explain what a kilt check and flip is? Because there's a lot of people that don't know what that is.
A kilt check is with your hands, and a kilt flip is with your whole ass face under it.
She did it twice.
I had to make sure, okay? You
I just
know,
want
sometimes our eyes lie.
um what I can say from this experience, being new to all of this, um, it's a lot of fucking work. I understand why there are so many people that just don't. Um, the customer service aspect that comes into it, and people don't understand. I had to like take the Miss Locks hat off and put the vanilla hat on for the customer service because there's so many times where I'm just like,
It's the face for me.
and that's exactly how you right. So I was like, no, I can't come in here in the Miss Locks hat. I need to put on a. I definitely understand your concerns. Let me walk you through this process. No, it's not a problem. I was like, okay, so that's what it looks like when I take this hat off and put this hat on, and take this hat off and put it back on. Because if it had been left up to me, I'd have just been yelling left and right. And I don't think that that's productive or conducive to a good
No.
event, right? So, yay for me, Kay, personal growth. Um, but I had an amazing time. I know that part of my exhaustion comes from me peopling Friday and then me doing Saturday. A lot of people don't like to believe it, but I'm not a people's person. I'm really an introvert that's faking it. Okay. So, so when I get out there and I'm talking in front of people, if you'd have seen me a year and a half ago when Joy was like, "Oh no, you're gonna run this one," what? Stand in front of people and talk? Absolutely not. So I feel like I have grown and evolved this so much, and I didn't say or once on Saturday.
I know I was listening a little bit. Uh, like in the beginning of the night, Bear and Beast were sitting outside talking, and I went out there to smoke a cigarette. And Bear looked at me and he was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Chilling. Miss Lux got this. She in there talking everybody up. This her show. She got this." Shit, I do that at TNG. People coming in and you're like, "Hi, how are you?" And you get up and you do your rounds, and I just sit there with my little chips and salsa. I'm like, "Uh-huh. I ain't the admin no more. I ain't got to do this yet. Let me just sit here
And be great
and
and
relax."
enjoy it. It is a thing. But there is something that I want to talk about. And one of those things that I want to talk about is the safety in these spaces. Um, and even though like we don't vet for events and things like that, and we want everybody to feel welcome in that welcomeness, um, I'm very particular. I pay attention to everything. And I want people to really know like these events, like we make sure that they're safe. Um, and we make sure if there is someone that we feel would make the environment unsafe, then they are not allowed in that space. What I realized doing everything that we were doing, there was a lot of people that were just new,
Mm-hmm.
right? There were people that wanted to go and do all of the things. It was local. They were like, what did she say? She said, "Oh, I was scrolling through and I was like, oh, she looks nice." And boom, they came. And I just want people to know that they're safe. I want people to understand that in all of this, we all started from somewhere. And that's why I made the point when we were doing the introductions and talking to make sure to point out, you see how many people are new. There are some people that have been in this for a while, 13 years, 8 years, 12 years. And then there's the 2 years, the 1.5 years, there are new people here. We all had to start from somewhere. Um, so I know that also we didn't necessarily plan doing like a demo. We didn't plan that. However, us being able to flow and the amazing Joy Perez volunteering to be a bottom because she loves us oh so much, we were able to take time to like talk to people and them to learn about what things look like. And it's actually something that I'm really interested in doing every event going forward. Just so they get a little taste of whatever it is. Whatever we decide to do, we can kind of feed that into what it is that we're doing. While
Why
we're
do I feel like I'm always going to be the
not
designated
at
bottom?
all because see, I don't feel like enough people watch our podcast. So I feel like I can put it out there, but I really want to get with Beast because I want to learn fire cupping over the next couple of weeks, and I want to do the demo of fire cupping with him right there, kind of making sure that I'm doing okay, and the masochist is okay with doing that, so you don't even have to be my bottom because I have him. See, because it's unpainful, so it
Yeah,
works
Rebel
out.
did that Saturday night.
Huh?
So
I
Rebel
know
did
I
that Saturday
saw
night.
it. I
Yeah,
was
that was her
in.
first time doing it on somebody else that wasn't me or Beast. And She was doing it, and Beast was right next to her, walking her through it and making sure she was doing the things, and our
I
lovely
was
shenanigans
looking.
was her bottom.
Oh, I was looking jealous. Jealous. While we're talking about this, see, this is what happens when we don't have a flow. But we were actually, me and I, we were talking about me and my struggles with finding things that make me speak. And I was like, oh yeah, learning how to flog is great because it's a tool that I learned, but it doesn't speak to me. Learning how to paddle people don't speak to me. Like it's like okay, it's something that people like and they can enjoy, but it's not really. It doesn't feed me. So I spent some time over the last 48 hours thinking about that. And I know that people don't like the sensuality of stuff, but I also, with my trauma, and I'm realizing that that's where a lot of stuff stems from my trauma. Beating the shit out of somebody does nothing for me besides make me feel slightly guilty, right? However, I am really interested in learning like sensory deprivation, and I don't mean like waterboarding, but I mean like, you know, blindfolds, headphones, and then different sensations, wax play, fire play, electric play. There's so much you can do with all of that because ooh, I saw somebody beating somebody with a fire flogger, and I was like, ah! Right? Because it's not about pain, it's about the prettiness of the fire and the sensations, right? And I was like, yeah, right? So it made learning flogging like exciting for me because I'm like, ooh, if I learn how to do this right,
Mm-hmm.
I can put fire on them bitches and turn up, right? So, um, I guess I bring this up simply to say that, like, for me, I've been struggling a lot because people are like, "Oh, you don't play in public," because there's nothing that I want to. There's nothing that brings me enough pleasure to want to do that. But when I think about like fire cupping, electric play, sensory, with mixing all of that into it, like that does it for me. And it's like, but does that take away from my sadism? Because I do feel like I'm a sadist. I just don't feel like I'm a sadist like everybody else is a sadist. And I struggle with this. And I'm sure other people struggle with it as well. But I struggle with it because I feel like, up here I am being uber different again. And this is what has always been kind of my song and dance in this journey that I'm going through because I don't feel like I align with what people expect when you say sadist or dominant. And so it was a pivotal moment for me after the event for me to sit down and have these, introspections and realize, okay, this is what I'm more leaning to. This is what interests me, and it's okay for me to like
Well,
want to.
everybody thinks sadism equates to like the physicality, pain. Sadism doesn't always necessarily mean that. I am very much an emotional sadist. I like the mind fuck more than I like the pain.
I can see that, but for me, because I don't know if you were listening to a conversation that I was having with the gentleman at the event, but I was asked what I'm into, like what brings me in, and I was like, well, for me, it's important for me to know that the person is better having known me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my sadism looks more positive, like, oh, you're looking for like realistic degradation. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Oh, you said talking positive about yourself makes you uncomfortable. That is phenomenal. So let's talk about what I'm going to have you do, right?
See,
So you're going to
emotional
call me.
sadist.
We're going to call me every morning and we are going to say positive affirmation. right? We're going to talk about 5 to 10 things about you that makes you great for being you. And it makes so many people uncomfortable. And I'm like, and 30 days, and it's a habit of thinking positively about yourself. So it's helping you as a person as well. But all the people that I scare away, when I'm like, oh, I'm not going to call you a dirty little slut, but I will talk about how intelligent and smart you are and how great you are out here and how you are doing amazing and watching you be uncomfortable. And it just puts a big smile on my face. Right?
No, I didn't hear a lot of your conversations. I feel like most of the evening I was very much in like a primal state. I think Rebel and I even wrestled on the ground.
You
She's
did.
covered
I
in
saw it. I was
bruises.
like, ooh, look at y'all.
That's the first time we've ever like done that in public too. That's usually something that's very like private for us. Like nobody gets
Yay!
to see that, and that just came out. And then, Beast has been gone for a long time, and when we're at our bigger events, because we're working it, we don't get time to really play. So being able to sing Saturday night was nice. That was like a connection that he and I haven't been able to have in a very long time. So
Yeah. That makes me so happy. And I just want to put out there because I know she lurking in the background. I'm so proud of you doing all of the things, doing like the cupping and playing, being out here for people to see. Yeah, I saw you. I'm
she's
so
pretending not to
proud.
hear.
Huh?
So she's pretending not to hear.
She can pretend all she wants to, but I know she hear me, and I'm gonna text you afterwards just to reiterate what I said because uncomfortability makes me smile. Makes me
Wait,
happy.
peanut gallery. Peanut gallery's coming.
Hey,
She eyeballing you.
it's all right. I'm about to text you all type of stuff. I'm gonna be like, "Oh my god, I saw you out there. You were just being amazing, and I'm so proud of you." You're gonna be
I
like, "Look,
told you,
relax."
emotional sadism. Because them compliments make her fucking weird.
That's something to my soul, and I'm like, "Oh, you look so nice. Look
Yeah.
at your haircut." She's like uncomfortable. I'm like,
Made
"Great."
me enjoy scared a couple people, maybe. I don't know, but I
Yeah,
didn't care.
did somebody ask you what the hell we were doing?
Somebody was they were looking, and I was like, "Oh no, primal play," and went on. But the thing about it is I realized that a lot of people didn't see a lot of things because everybody was kind of like all over the place. And so I would love to like when we do our scenes, like to not necessarily our scenes, but like our planned scenes. Because one thing that I want you guys, and I want everybody to be able to do, is I want us to be able to enjoy what we've got, right?
Hmm.
So even though all of us we do all of the things, it's nothing big, right? It's not like this big place where everybody has to be in different places all the time. And I want us to be able, if you want to play with Rebel, you can play with Rebel. If you want to play with Beast, you can play with Beast. If I can ever talk Ty into playing with me, I'm gonna play with him. You know, all of those things. But that's one of the things that I like so much about what we're doing is because it allows us to enjoy it
Hmm.
as we're putting it on. And when we are doing those bigger things, we're not able to because we are
Yep.
it's 80 people, it's 90 people. We have to make sure that everything's flowing properly. We have to make sure dungeon monitoring, that's what we're doing, and that's what it is. And we're not able to participate in this. So while we're doing these dungeons, I want us to be able to like take a moment and enjoy the fruits of our labors as we're laboring, because there's enough of us that's able to like keep an eye out while everybody is you know so that also made me extremely happy that people were able to like enjoy it outside of just the work because it is a lot of work, and if it was easy to do, everybody would be doing
Yeah, that part.
it.
Okay, go
So
back over
Okay.
there, peanut
Ta-ta for
gallery.
now.
it's all right,
Sending
I'm
her
out.
back to her corner.
It's all right, I'm texting you later.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
You're not the baby, I'm the baby. She
No,
said nobody put.
in comparisons to like what you do, you're the old lady. You're the
Me?
oldest one out here. Yeah. In all of the things and all of the things. Yes, you're the old
I
lady.
know. I did feel so old when everybody was sharing like how long they'd been in the community. And like Bear will never give you a number. However, I have like 7 years on Bear to give you perspective. I know Bear's number, but that's not something he like puts out there all the time. But I have at least 7 years on Bear. And it's like, holy fuck, I've been doing this a long time. I just was very fortunate to find kink and community at a young age. And not everybody has that opportunity. But goddamn, I was like,
I
oh,
wouldn't have been
we're
ready
talking
for
experienced.
none of that at a young age. Please, like, was my interest piqued at a young age from like smut books? Yes, but when you have been raised in a vanilla space where, you know, I didn't lose my virginity until I was 21. 21? 21. And I had my kiddo at 22. I'm like the poster child for abstinence. Safe sex, people, safe sex, right? So, um, um, like for me, even at that, and even now, as I am growing and evolving in everything that I do, there's still that internal battle for me because I'm super demisexual. You have different people on different spectrums of the demisexuality, you know, line of things, and I'm all the way to the right. Um, and so for me, I still have a lot of like those internal battles. Like I'm not uncomfortable in sexual spaces, people fucking, and I'm like, oh look, they're fucking, and then I go ahead about my business. Um, but it doesn't entice me like it entices everybody else, like without that connection. So I was going somewhere with this and I totally forgot because ADHD. Um, um, I don't remember where I was going with this, so we're just gonna go ahead and plow through this. I know that there was a reason in all of this outside of me being weird, but I can't remember.
No, I mean, that's a good segue to talk about what the fuck has been going on over here.
Okay.
But, like, when you're talking about, like, sexuality and, like, the age and things like that, I grew up in a very strict conservative household too. And I was always the black sheep of the family. So, like, where you had like a lot of like guilt and shame surrounding things because of how you grew up, I like rejected that because I so much did not want to be my family. But also like sexual trauma. I was very hypersexual at a very young age because of sexual trauma. And we'll put a trigger warning on this episode.
Trigger warning. Hold on, wait. Oh, we gotta come up with like a trigger warning sound. Like I feel like it needs to be like. Normally I'd be
We
like,
need
doo, doo,
sound
doo,
effects.
doo. But maybe not that because that sounds like an exciting thing. So maybe we should be like a trigger
Doom,
warning.
doom,
Beep boop,
doom.
beep boop, beep boop.
But yeah. Um, Trigger warning for this episode, definitely. Uh, for me, like when it comes to my sexuality, when it comes to sex, when it comes to the hypersexualness, it started really, really young because I was super sexualized as a young kid. I grew up with a stepfather and his side of the family, and I developed very young. I was 9 years old, and by the time I got into like the fifth grade, I was already like a double D. So, like, being that young, and you know, I'm small, I'm quote unquote exotic looking. I fucking hate that word, but that's what the word was used when described me, with like, large breasts. Having people who were supposed to be your relatives, remind you like, oh, hey, we're not really related, so this is okay. I had my stepdad's like best friends that he knew since he was in like grade school. Like literally tell my dad, "Oh, when she turns 18, I'm marrying her." While I was still like in middle school, high school, like throughout all these years. So I was very like sexualized. And even though these people were super conservative and super like culturally and religiously strict, they were still behaving in this way towards me. And I would get in trouble all the time for these things. Like the blame was not put where the blame should have been put.
Which is on the adult.
It was always, you're dressing this way, or you're acting suggestively, or you're encouraging them. Like at 11, 12 years old, fuck, even 14, 15 years old, like my parents still bought my clothes. So how am I dressing in a way that is suggestive? You are putting these clothes on my back. You are taking me out. You're doing all of these things. So, like, when it came to sex, like, my mentality was I'm already being accused of doing all of these things. I'm already getting in trouble for all of these things that I'm really not doing. So, I might as well just fucking do it. Because why not? So, like, I rejected a lot of, like, and, especially religion and culture. These were the examples that I had. People who went to church religiously, people who were so involved in the family and the culture. And if this is what family looks like, and if this is what culture looks like, and this is what religion looks like, I don't want anything to fucking do with it at all. So, like, yeah, when we found the kink community, and like Sir and I's very first experiences in the kink community were with leather people, and seeing how they moved and their ideas around sex, their ideas around community, and their ideas around family look totally different than what we had growing up. And there was no shame surrounding these things. It's not like, oh, we're going to like damn you for doing these things while still doing these things. It's
Right.
openly talked about. It's talked about in a safe, consensual way, and nobody judges you for it. So I think that's really like, because I mean, you can be a little kinky and not want to be a part of the community. You can be all of these things and really not want to involve yourself with other people. It could just be a private thing that you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not 24/7 for everybody.
True.
But that's what really drew us to community. And I had a moment this morning where Beast had to like remind me of that. Last night was like really rough, and I think I finally figured out what triggered it. So like 6 years ago, I had cut my entire family off, my entire local family. I completely cut them off, stopped talking to them, have like no nothing with them. And a cousin of mine that I was very, very close to, like extremely close to, when all that stuff happened, like there was no phone call, there was no text, there was no showing up at the house to be like, hey, are you okay? Do you need anything? There was no support, there was no love. She sent me a friend request yesterday. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I haven't heard from anybody in 6 years. This is very suspect. Like, why are you sending me a friend request all of a sudden? And then last night was just like riddled with nightmares. And I'd gotten up this morning, got Rebel off to work, and I went back to sleep, and it was like the same nightmare again. And when I called Sir this morning, like I still wasn't able to like talk about it because it was still like fresh, and I was still like emotional. But by the time Beast came home, I was able to talk it through with him. And my nightmares were surrounding, sexual assault, and my family. You know, anytime anything ever happened with my family, whether it was my mom's side or my dad's side, because it's a dysfunctional family. Like my parents were never married, so I had a stepdad and I had a stepmom. So I was always the scapegoat, no matter what side of the family I was on, right? I was always the stepchild. And I didn't fit the mold of what their family looked like on either side. So I was always blamed for everything. So, like in my dream, my dad's side of the family and my stepmom's side of the family are just like yelling at me and screaming at me, you know, why do I keep lying about what happened? That I need to own it, that I'm this horrible person and I just need to admit my fault and that I'm tearing the family apart. And it's just like going on and on. So, like, now I'm in tears in our backyard telling Beast all of these things. And, I was telling him, like, sometimes I feel like, am I the crazy one? Did things really happen the way I remember it happening? Or if all of those people are saying that I'm the problem, am I really the problem? Did I really make all of this shut up? And then he had to remind me that, like, him and Sarah were with me through all of this. And then I was telling him, like, his mom is an amazing woman. Beast and I are going on 14 years, and this woman has always tried to connect with me, has always tried to, like, mother me and be there for me. And she's always inviting me to do things with her, and she's always reaching out, and she's always trying to connect with me. And I just have this block. And I was telling him, like, I love this woman, but I don't think she realizes that, like, being with her is painful because it's a reminder of what I don't have. It's like in my face all the time that my own mom, my own dad doesn't love me like this. He's like, what do you need right now? I was like, not to have a Shetty family. And he was like, so Rebel Shetty? So Sarah Shetty? So Locs Shetty? Ty Shetty? Mika Shetty? Eileen Shetty? And he's like naming all of you guys and asking me these things. And I was like, no. He's like, your family's not Shetty. Those people were Shetty. Your family's not Shetty. And I was like, I hear what you're saying. I do. I hear what you're saying. It's like, but don't you ever feel like sometimes it's not enough? And he was like, yeah, because he has his own issues with his own family.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, but unfortunately, this is what the universe has dealt us, is these shitty ass fucking people. He's like, but we made the decision to not call them family. And we made a decision to make our own family. So when you say you have a shitty family, like, don't call it that, because your family's not shitty.
Your chosen
Those
family.
people in your life are shitty. Or those people who used to be in your life are shitty. And I, like, had to stop and, like, okay, sometimes I really don't like you. Because why are you making sense right now?
No, it makes a lot of sense. I think that a lot of us that are within the community probably have been through like crazy things, like, and really sitting down and unpacking and trying to heal as best that we can. It brings up like a lot of turmoil. Like as you were talking about, like your experience of hypersexuality. For me, what comes to me is that my suppression of sexuality comes from a place of guilt, and it comes from a young age because I had a crush on somebody. You know how, I don't know if in your family you did it, but you had family that you call family but wasn't really your family. Like they
Mm-hmm.
were just, and I don't mean like through marriage. I mean, like, I have
Close
aunties that I
family
call
friends.
auntie, right? But it's not, which makes their kids
Yep.
our kids, our cousins and, all of that. And I remember that for me, trigger warning, right? So putting out that hold on, wait, I don't think that was what we chose. We chose dun dun dun. Like okay, so trigger warning. For me, I had a crush on one of my play cousins, right? And we were maybe 5 years apart, which at our big grown age doesn't seem really vast, but at 11, 12, 13 is a really big gap in regards to experience. And I had the biggest crush, right? And um, there were things that would happen that was right. I knew even at 13, 14, it's inappropriate, but it's hard to because I was developed really early as well. I think I started my period at like 9. A lot of information, y'all. Don't fucking judge me, right? But like, so by the time I was 12, I was almost my height, you know, and developed, right? And so I had this crush, and we would always go over to their house, right? And the parents would just leave us alone because we're all kids and nobody worries about kids preying on kids, right? And there were a lot of things that would happen. Never like like sex, but it would always be of an intimate nature. And so for me, having a crush on somebody and these things happening for a normal 14, 15-year-old girl, I mean, that's what happens. But it's also knowing, hey, this is supposed to be your play cousin. Like, this is wrong. And so that struggle of these good feelings that your body feels when these things are happening is now mixed in with like a sense of guilt. And so intimacy was never fun for me because pleasure equated guilt, right? And so I never wanted pleasure because as soon as I, boop, then it was like, oh, you're doing something wrong because that was the correlation that I have. And even with me in my big old age, there's still times where I struggle with that because that was years until like I think he passed away when I was sophomore year. And he was 20 at the time. But that was like the struggle for me. And as I'm unpacking all of these things and figuring out traumas and all of that, I realized that that plays a really heavy part in like my demisexuality and the need for the security because I don't believe necessarily that demisexuals are born demisexuals. I truly believe we're created, right? And so for me, there's a certain amount of safety that's needed with a person before that other side is like unlocked. And I don't think that enough people like talk about that. Like there are two sides of the coin. Like for you, you were like hypersexuality, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, it was suppressed because shame and this is bad and this isn't good. And I think that these are conversations that people need to have. Like I'm to a point to where I am able to talk about these type of things. But for a really long time, I wasn't. And then I just felt weird. And then so going into life with the intimacy, I waited so long and then I wasn't as responsive as people were expecting me to be because everything was suppressed and there wasn't effort made to like connect with me in the way that I needed to like bring all of that out. So No, family plays a big part of it. We all have talked about my shitty ass family and, my mom and her badass wigs and all of the things. We won't get into it. We won't get into it. I make really horrible dead mom jokes, but and I'm not ashamed, right? So if you're feeling away as I say this, you can kiss my ass, right? Okay, because this is my life. Okay, no one lived my life but me. But I had to realize chosen family. Um, I chose them for a reason and they're there and it's a great thing and they're amazing. And I'm also having to learn that chosen family that you chose at a time of trauma and unhealed cannot hold yourself or those around you that you are now choosing as family responsible for those actions, if that makes
All
sense.
right.
I didn't know to choose better. So a forever friendship going awry is really not that far off course when you have been working on healing and becoming a better version of yourself. What used to be okay is no longer
All right.
okay. And it's something that I feel like more people need to sit in because we make a lot of these horrible ass choices. We deal with a lot of these horrible ass behaviors because of the time that a person has in. And it doesn't take away from the time that you have with that person. But where I'm at now does not correlate with the person that was back then or the person that they are now. It does not align. And it's okay to discontinue that. Um, so I think that's part of the conversation as well. Um, Being able to see things for what it is, using your discernment and understanding that, as cliche as it sounds, some people are here for a lifetime, others just a season. And a lot of times, relationships, friendship wise, all of that, we hang on for dear life when we're supposed to be just letting go. And life is like popping us on the top of the fucking head. It's like, hey, bitch, let go, let go, let go. And we're like,
Right.
no, this is my childhood friend. And it's like, let it go. And we're like, no. And now we're leaving and now we have all of this trauma, all these knots on our head because life's been fucking us up. They've been fucking us up. Now we're truly fucked up because
Oh, I
we.
think a lot of times we hold on to those relationships because it is comfortable, not because we're happy in it. When we've had so many other people, especially when it's your own family, when
Mhm.
you've had your own family betray you, when you've had your own family, like, not give a fuck, no matter how shitty a friendship or a relationship is, we grasp onto that because everybody else has left you.
Yep.
I'm going to put up with this because I can't bear losing another person.
Um, I think that I started to grow and change and evolve when I became comfortable with being alone. A lot of people move um, under how many messages do you get? It's like, oh, I'm bored. What you doing? And back in the day, I'd be like, oh, I'm bored too. Now people be like, oh, I'm bored. What you doing? All this shit you could be doing and you bored? You could be out here creating a business plan, taking care of kids, reading a book, educating yourself, going to school, looking for a new job. What you mean you bored? There's so much stuff for you to do for self improvement. But I feel like a lot of people, and when I say a lot of people, it used to be me at one point in time, so I don't want anybody to feel like I'm judging. Um, we move from a space that's unhealthy,
Hmm.
and because of that, we attract unhealthy because we don't want to be by ourselves. So this shitty ass person coming in and be showing just a little bit more attention than the last person, be it a friend or a lover, you know, and we're like, oh, I think I found the one. And I'm like, hey, so he's still showing Freddy Krueger, you know, a
You can be running
situation
out of this.
that he's still they're still showing these not so healthy qualities that you're willing to overlook because they're not hitting the same way that previous relationships had been hitting. And I had to realize that after my divorce, like the goalpost was in hell. So anybody could have been fucking better than what my marriage was at that particular point of time. But I was like, oh, this is great. He's better. And then 3 years down the line, I'm like, bitch, you was just another flavor. Like he was cherry and now you're grape. You know what I mean? Like it's the same shit. It's just flavored a little differently. And so I realized that I could not pick better. I could not do better in all things until I became better. And once I required better, once I did better, then better came to me. And so with that, that is why I work so hard for that like personal growth. Not for anybody else, but for me because it helps my discernment. It helps me sit down and be like, okay, maybe this ain't it. This isn't the one. Or this isn't the thing. And that's in everything, whether it's work or life or relationships, like, that discernment matters. So I think that these are conversations that people definitely need to have with themselves and unpack why the maneuvering is the way the maneuvering is because it's deep seated, it's deep rooted. And a lot of times we try to put the salve on top of the infection, not understanding that the infection is to the bone. And until we figure out what's causing it,
Right.
you can't get better. You can't do better.
I do want to add though, like, I hear what you're saying, and I do tend to agree with you, but I also want to put out there that like being okay alone doesn't necessarily have to look like alone because I've never been alone. I literally went from my father's house to my husband's house.
Mm-hmm.
And 17 years later, I have three partners. You know what I mean? I've never been alone. However, I needed to get to a point where I was comfortable with who I was. And the one saying that I absolutely fucking hate is um, it's Mama Rue's favorite saying, right? How in the hell can you love somebody else if you can't love yourself? I do not like that saying because for some of us, we don't know how to love ourselves because we've never been shown love until somebody else shows it to us.
Yeah,
So
but it
sometimes,
still teaches you. It still
right,
teaches you how you need to be loved, even if you didn't know. Because I'm right there. I'm about in the healthiest situation that I've ever been in, right? And it was a fight in the beginning. It was, I remember the first time we were still in a dynamic, right? And as I'm psychotic, I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, I'm so happy. And then I have a full blown panic attack, right? Because what the fuck
yeah,
you mean you're happy, right?
yeah,
Like, what do you mean somebody is treating you well and respects you, and you can be out here and you can do all type of nasty, disgusting, trifling shit, and they still love you and it's done, and then you can like have a full blown like freak out and they still love you the next day. Like I didn't know what that looked like. So I agree with you on that. I learned what it was to love me because somebody loved me the way that I needed to be loved. And I'm
right,
not the easiest person to love. I come with a lot of baggage, I come with a lot of damage, and people I look at a picture and be like, oh yeah, no, I wish you don't. You don't. Hey, go
right.
reach out to him real quick, baby, because I'm not for the faint of heart. I knock shit over. But like, I didn't know how to love me or what loving me fully and healthily looked like until I was loved.
Right.
So I
And
definitely understand that.
especially when you come from a dysfunctional family, that wasn't like what your parents' relationship looked like or whoever your caregivers were. So if you never had examples of what healthy love looks like, how can you know how to do it to yourself, let alone somebody else? And I remember waking up sometimes, like over the years, and like a cold sweat and panic because I thought that my life was a dream. Because who, like, 14-year-old me, had you told her that this is what my life would be, or this is who the people in my life were, would never have believed that at all. So like waking up in like a cold sweat thinking like, "Oh fuck, I'm back in my childhood home. This was all a delusion. It was a dream. This isn't really happening." And then like having to take a moment to be like, "Oh yeah. No, this really is my life. Like this is my life."
And
And
I'm
it's just
happy. And it's okay to be happy. Then you got to process what that happiness is because it does not look like the traditional form of
that
happy.
that
Being in a situation where you're in a polyamorous relationship, and like we say all the time, it does not look the same for everybody. My polyamorous dynamic does not look like you guys' polyamorous dynamic. Your polyamorous dynamic doesn't look like everybody else's, but it feeds what you need for it to be fed. And it's so weird because you look for that prototype because that's what we're taught to do. We're taught to look for, we want to emulate someone else. And a lot of times we don't realize that we're emulating a false narrative anyway, unless we're
shit.
being true.
I
Hmm?
I was at fault of that too. Like my idea of like the perfect poly family relationship, whatever, came from a fantasy book. Like I knew at a very young age monogamy was not for me. And I had like formulated this idea of what I wanted my life to look like if I could ever attain it. And it came from a fantasy book.
Hmm.
And at some point over the years, like Beast and Sir had to remind me, like, this is reality. This is not your book. You're trying to make us, or you have these expectations of us, of characters from this book. Like, stop doing that. We're not these people, or we're not these characters. This is like real life shit happens. And I think a lot of people do that, especially when you're coming from like trauma or dysfunction. You want
Hmm.
something that looks so different than what your current reality is. You're creating these like unattainable expectations.
First of all, don't be judging me. I feel like you called me all the way out. Um, Not even in like this relationship aspect of things, but I remember being a child. And for those that don't know, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and St. Louis, Missouri is still very segregated. And having my dysfunctional family, and then going out to county schools. For those that don't know, county schools are legitimately, in St. Louis is where the other side lives, where the rich people live, is where the people that don't look like you live, right? And so going to those families and seeing how they acted, 12, 13, 14-year-old me was like, oh, well, if I emulate this, maybe my family will be the same as well. And a lot of people talk about like how I code switch. And oh, you're so proper and you're so articulate and you're so well. Not knowing that this was forced for me because I tried to be something that I was not because I thought being something different would cause a change in my day to day life. Um, and it just became part of who I was. And that's why there's that like that switch. My ex husband used to talk about it in therapy. oh yeah, no, she's so nice and blah 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 blah. Then I make her mad. And then there's a switch. And like her voice changes and the tone changes. And then she's like, and I'm like, oh, oh, that's Miss Locks from the other side. And it is, you know, but like we do that. We come in and we have these false expectations from what we see, not understanding we don't know what is behind the scenes in these households. And it's something that we struggle with online often because a lot of times we come in and we see what they want us to see, and then we're like, oh, we wish it was like that, and you don't even know what's going on in these households. It's something that I tell people currently, like, don't come in here putting your false expectations on me, right?
Hmm.
You haven't taken the time to get to know me as an individual. You're just assuming that I fit this particular mold. And I don't, but you don't know that because you came in with your preconceived notion. Now you're mad at me because I don't fit the mold that you decided to just take me and shove it in. And I just want to let y'all know none of y'all are Jesus, and I'm not clay. You cannot mold me into anything. I am who I am. And so your goal should always be to see if this person embodies what it is that you need, not looking at them saying, oh, I can tweak them into what I need for them to be. Find someone that fits what you need them to be naturally, not trying to like change the person. And I used to do a lot of changing. I was trying to take myself and my round self and figure it won't fit into this square peg. I don't understand. It's the hole. It's not fitting because I don't fit into that, right? And so I think that that plays a part into a lot of things as well. The internet allows me to be whatever I want to be. If I wanted to be a 60-year-old rich white man, guess what I could be on the internet? Okay, with a lot of
Right.
money. We're traveling all the time. I'm going out and I'm slinging dick that I was
I
born
identify
with.
as a billionaire.
Out here, I was in Paris last week and knowing good damn well I wasn't. I was clocking into my 9 to 5. But that is what a lot of people don't understand. They take the internet as real life. And I don't know about you, but I know for me, a lot of people are like, oh, you you're the same online as you are in real life. I am, but there's a lot of people that are not. And the surprise that I get when people realize that I am the exact same online as I am in real life lets me know that there are so many people out there just pretending to be whatever it is the community needs for them to be, whatever community we're speaking about. So
I mean, okay, so I will admit that the person I am on FET versus the person I am on Facebook is totally different because FET is full of pervs and I don't share as much on there. That's literally just for like promo, event promo, and titty pics.
but I don't
But
think that you're being different though. What you're
no,
doing is you're only sharing a part of yourself. You're not um uh inflating anything. You are not creating anything. What you're doing is you're more than just a one layered person. So what you're doing is you're sharing what you're comfortable with in that space. And that's okay. That doesn't mean no, I'm talking about the people that curate whole different personalities.
I can never
There's a lot
do
of that.
that.
You and
No,
me
I need
both.
these people to know like when you meet me in real life, and you're over here literally fetishizing me. Like, I come with baggage. I come with health problems. I come with mental health problems. I come with 3 partners and I come with like 4+ kids. You know what I mean? Like, I need you to understand what you're getting yourself into. Because I
Mhm.
feel like, especially on FET, people see what I choose to share and it's like, oh, she travels and she does this and she goes to these events and she's playing with this person and she's playing with that person. Like, oh, let me get a piece of that. Like, I answer to 4 people who are not even my partners. I really don't be doing as much as people think I'm doing. Like, for Rebel to even get her foot through the door, like, let me tell you, the very first date Rebel and I ever went on was a coffee date. And I came home after midnight, and my teenager was like, arms crossed, met me at the door, and was like, "Do you know what time it is? You think you could just waltz in here after
Like,
midnight?" And,
like you're grown.
like, yeah, like, oh,
You
this
said
is
it
what
was
you do,
coffee.
mom.
Coffee shops closed at 8 o'clock. We're being
Right.
here.
Or like, and even as like as long as poly is the only thing my kids have ever known, but like the way we poly has evolved, you know? So like the very first time since Beast has been home, like Beast and I had talked about like sleeping arrangements now that he's home, and like the very first time I came and slept in Rebel's room while he was home, like the next day my teenager was like, "Why aren't you sleeping with dad? Why are you in there?" I'm like, "Whoa, mind your business." So I don't think people quite understand, like, yes, what we do is who we are and we live this 24/7. However, there's still a vanilla aspect to our life. We're still moms. We're still, employees, and like we still have things. It's not a fantasy world that we live in until our kids leave the house, and then Lord knows. But anyway,
I'm just gonna come
then
over to
we can
your
do all
house.
the
I got a
things.
long time to go. I messed around. Now I got an 11-year age difference, but that just
What? I have 6 years until my youngest is 18. And not that they're leaving the house, they'll just be of an age where I won't have to like care as much. My three younger kids have like told us that we need a family compound because they want their own space, but they're never leaving home. Oh, so I gotta tell you a funny joke
okay.
about that. I think everybody will enjoy this. Um, so like we have talked about like buying property and putting like tiny homes on there for our kids. So that way, as they grow older, they have their own space. Should they choose to leave home when they visit, or if they ever need to come back home, they would still have their own private spaces, but it would be like on family property. There would always be a place for them. So my 16-year-old was saying like she can't wait till they're grown and we're all living on this family compound and their little kids are running around the property, right? And like watching her kids grow up on this family compound. And I was like, "Ooh, a Lion King moment came to my brain." And she's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, when Mufasa is or sitting on the ledge with Simba, and he was like, "Do you see everything the light touches? You know, that is our kingdom." And she was like, "Yeah. And you see that dark area over there? We don't go over there. That's grandma's and grandpa's place. We don't go to the darkness."
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
Yes. Um. So I'm gonna pause there. We haven't done a burn book for a while, and we're recording on my phone, but I wanted to talk about something. So, got an email
Okay.
after the event, and the gentleman was like, "Oh, how was your party?" And I was like, "Oh, it was great. We had a great time." And he was like, "Oh, well, I wanted to come, but only for you." And I was like, "Well, if you're not trying to build community, then I don't understand what you're coming for unless you coming to see me love on my partner." And he was like, "Oh, absolutely not." But then he comes back and he's like, "Oh, but I'd have took you down for real, for real." I said, "Is your goal in this conversation to be blocked?" Cause and he was like, "Well, if you said ain't nothing gonna happen, I don't understand why you're upset." I'm not upset. I just don't do well with disrespect. And so when I heard that, I wanted to put out there that I need for people to understand. First of all, you should never just come to an event that I'm throwing, whether it's the munch, whether it's anything that Uncensored does or anything that I grow and evolve into in the future. It should never be you coming to try to get to know me, because there's plenty of time to get to know me outside of an event that I'm doing. And there's not much that I do that does not include my partner, or who knows, partners in the future, and my non-platonic, I mean, my platonic partners, you know, because they don't play
Don't
about me
knock all this
either.
shit over.
All of it, right? So the idea of you coming into a space that was curated by me to try and push yourself on me is crazy work. Absolutely crazy. Because I don't play about me, and nobody that I deal with play about me. So I say all of this to say I need for y'all to move with purpose, and to be mindful out here. Don't get yourself into a situation, right? Because we're online, right? And you see my titties online, and you see all of this online, because you got to understand I'm not here to play. But a lot of the times it's not even me you got to worry about in that situation. Because, hey, if my partner pop off, I'm just going to walk away and be like, oh, yeah, where's the... And it's not just my partner you got to worry about, because we got Suge Knight, we got my mentor, we have all these people that ride with me that don't take light to disrespect me. And sometimes I need for people to truly understand that concept. This is not a free for all spot. And it would be better for you to go and find somebody that's looking for what you're looking for.
That
Because
part.
there's nothing on my page that says that I'm looking for that. You don't get to come and push that on me. You don't get to come and be like, oh, I want to worship you. And when I tell you, oh, I accept worship in forms of PayPal or Cash App, and then you say, oh, I wasn't talking about that kind. I was talking about like an intimate kind. That's worship to you, baby. But you don't get to come in and tell me how you get to worship me. And I should take it as worship. Okay? You want to show me that you care about me? I got this good old mortgage that needs some payment. Okay, this car note. Okay, these locks need to be retwisted. You see this new growth? You get what I'm saying? Like that speaks to me. You want my attention. A lot of people feel like, oh, if you just about money, you not know you came over leading with sex. So you want me to fuck you for free, but you're offended when I say, oh, nah, but you can go ahead and slide me some coins and maybe entertain you for a minute. Now, how dare you come to me like a hoe but not want to pay me like a hoe? You know, I say that all the time. Like, don't do that.
So I
Hold
took your
off.
advice on that one time, remember? See, I'm not like Miss Lux. I don't answer my inbox. Like today, I had somebody who literally went through all of my pictures and was like hearting them and then slid into my inbox and was like, "Oh,
That's
hey, I'm in Colleen too. I'd love to foot worship you." Where on my page does it say anything like that? Like, there's a whole list of fetishes, right? Nowhere on there says anything about fucking feet. None of my pictures show my feet. Nothing on my page says anything about feet. But whatever. But I don't respond except for that one time. I had screenshotted a message and I sent it to our group chat, and you had made that comment: if you're going to come at me like a hoe, you're going to pay me like a hoe. So old dude sent this whole long message about how he was a pay pig. So I just sent him a message back like, adoration fee is blah blah blah. Here's my Cash App. And then he got so pissed off and was like going off on me about how, oh, now he has to pay to just to talk to me. I was like, you said you were a pay pig. And he was just like, no. And I'm like, yo, okay.
it's such a weird thing, because it's like, oh, I'm looking for a dominant, and oh, you just looking for, yeah, and I want them to do A, B, C, D, and E. Well, you know what? I like my submissives to be to come in forms of ATMs. Now you looking crazy. Is that really what I'm looking for? Absolutely not. But once again, if you're gonna approach me like I need to be a dominant on demand, I'm just supposed to pop out whatever it is you want. Oh, I want somebody to peg me, bitch. What does that have to do with me? Now you're mad because I called you a bitch, but what does that have to do with me? And pegging you with what? And who said that I was interested in butt stuff with you? Who said that? Grossness? Because from the way you coming in here, I know you not doing it properly. Right? You just willing to allow anybody to stick anything up your ass. Hey, relax. It just, it's weird, and people don't realize. And I know that it's a lot of vanilla people, but it's not just vanilla people. And I need for people to stop using that as an excuse. Oh, it's the vanilla. It's not. It's some of y'all motherfuckers that have been in this lifestyle for a while that will jump into my fucking inbox and talk real grimy and be real off the wall. And y'all been doing this long enough to fucking know better. Y'all been doing this longer than me. Yet here you are being weird and wouldn't say none of this in my face because the cussing out that I would provide to you free of charge. Free of charge. Matter of fact, it's easy. So I mean, if but I'm not gonna cuss you out online. Why? Because you didn't pay me to do that, and you don't get that energy for free. Now I just tell people, hey, that's probably why your dick dry all the time. How often does this work? And then it always comes to, it's always the fat hoes that feel, ooh, baby. So you got let down by a fat bitch.
And they say
Damn.
it like it's an insult or like we don't know. Like, yeah,
But the
I'm
thing
fat.
is that you feel that I'm less than because I am fat.
Right.
So you couldn't even get play from the fat bitch. Hey, that gotta be killer. Boy, your pride gotta be hurt. You wanna talk about it? Now I'm blocked. Why are you blocking me? Let's talk about it. I'm trying to talk you through this because I know it's hard to know that the fat bitch that you thought that was just gonna eat it up didn't want to give you no plate. Bitch, look at you and look at me. And that's where people get the old mean girl. Bitch, you look like despair and bad decisions. Yet here you are over here in my inbox looking like you smell like cigarette butts. Man, because I'm not talking to you. I see the dirt under your nails in all your pictures.
Oh my goodness.
No, it bothers me. It bothers me out here looking like you smell like 3 day old hot dog water, but you like, ooh, this is what I want to.
I can't with you. I fucking can't with you. Not the hot dog water.
Hey, that's what they look like. If they look like you walk past and be like,
Woo.
but no, I need for people to do better. That's the whole purpose of this burn book session. Is I need you to do better because realistically speaking, if that's all you're looking for, right? Which there's nothing wrong with it. If that's all you're looking for, just find someone that's looking for the same thing. Don't bring your ass over to somebody that says, oh, I'm part of the community. I do this and I host this and I do this for education and I go here and I'm learning this and I'm trying to do it. I do this podcast and I to be like, oh, you ever had your ass ate, bitch?
See, and this is why I tell Rebel all the time, like, I don't think she quite understands how lucky she is. Because, like, if you scroll through my inboxes on FET or Facebook, unless you're somebody I know in real life, I don't answer messages. And it's not always, like, grimy. Like, there have been a few that are, like, super respectful or be like, hey, I'm new here and I see that you're like actively involved in all of these places. If you would like mind talking to me and blah, 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 show me around or tell me what groups are good. Like, sometimes there's that one in a million, like, kosher message, but I don't ever answer my fucking messages. And I just happened to answer Rebel's message. I don't know Why? The one time. But I tell her all the time, I don't answer messages at all unless it's work related, unless it's group specific related, like you are at my group or you need more information about my group. I don't fucking answer messages ever.
See, and I tell because um I answer most messages that I respect, but on that same accord, I'm also getting sick. So I have to be able to hold a conversation with someone in order to see if there's a connection. The problem is that 85 to 95% of the people, even when it's respectful, it's violence.
I've seen your
So
messages.
it it'd be
It
like
divulges very
it
quickly.
very quickly. I'm like, oh, I'm doing okay. How now? I just be like, oh, good evening. How can I help you? But it wasn't like that at first. I would be like, oh, maybe they want a whole and I try to
No,
be
they
that.
just want to suck your toes.
Hey, I ain't even cleaned in between them in 5 months. Baby, you still looking for it or not? No, I don't know what to tell you, baby, because my toenails are currently scraping the ground, baby. You hear them before I get to you. Just so
I just want everybody to understand that she's just joking for those who don't really know her. Her feet not really like that. Because I would not let her be like that, okay? You don't understand. ED would not let that happen. He would be messaging me. I need you to clear your schedule and take care of her feet, please. The way you do her fingernails, I need you to handle these feet.
look,
Or he would be in Discord like, Miss Lux scratched me with her toes.
because he be snitching. Fucking snitch. Uh, but that is that is the biggest that's the biggest thing, and I think that's one of the biggest struggle with me with my search for a submissive. Um, because everything, especially on set, even those that are like, oh, I want to learn, I want to grow, I want to put your titty in my mouth. Hey, bitch, relax. You know what I mean? Like it gets
And it
real
really
weird.
do be like that with her messages. She'll like send it to us and it'll be like talking about her group or her podcast. And then all of a sudden it'll be like, and I want you to sit on my face while you're doing all of these things. And it's like, whoa, that that turned very quickly. Like what
Now
happened?
I
There was
gotta
no
put you to the
segue.
abyss. Now you back into, and that's if I don't block you. Like it's, but it doesn't have to be that way. But I feel like people don't know how to engage with people as human beings. Oh, this is a sex site. Actually, I said. So how many? Actually, how much ass have you gotten off of this sex site? None, bitch. None. Okay, I'm trying to hip you to the game. I'm trying to help
What
you
was
out.
that one comment? Was it your picture or was it your friend's picture where somebody was commenting like, well, if that's not what you're here for, then why are you on FET? Because that's
Yep,
not what
it was a
everybody
friend.
fucking uses it for.
Like, but or you could go find some. There are plenty of women that are like, oh, I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm looking for two people to take me down. I read something the other day. She was like, hey, I'm into gangbang and I am into male female. If you not coming to me with a friend in mind, come at me when you have a friend in mind. I'm not planning nothing. You come with the dick, you give the dick, you get out, right? Boom. See what I'm talking about? But they don't go over there. They come over here. They don't go over there. There are plenty of people out there, but the problem is I feel like it comes from a place of wanting what is not necessarily something that you have access to, or um I have a homeboy, won't name no names, that um People be like, "Oh yeah, have you seen this person?" Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, she bad on there. I'm thinking about talking to her, show him the picture, and he be like, "Did you read her profile?" Well, it's long. I went and I looked. I'm not reading all that. Then don't reach out. It's that simple. If my profile too long for you to pay attention to, don't send me a message because I wrote all that shit for it. And go find somebody with a blank profile because I'm uninterested in you and that ashy ass dick that's all up and down your timeline. How dare all your pictures be nothing but dick pics, but you come in talking about how pretty I am? Well, I don't even know what you look like. And let me tell you something. A lot of people run off of personality. I don't. I don't run off of personality. I'm not putting a bag over your head. You're not gonna just be hitting it from the back. Okay? Your nails can't be all scraggly. Like, no. Like, you are attracted to me, and it's unfair for you to assume that because you're attracted to me, I should just let shit slide. You sitting up here with Cheeto puff crumbs on your chest, but you like, ooh, you sexy. Stop playing with me. I just,
Oh my goodness.
you know what I'm talking about. They be like, yeah, and this is, I like to eat. I enjoy, y'all see me. I ain't no skinny hoe. I like food. Food is my love language. But don't you come over here with no last night's spaghetti stains trying to talk to me. Cause ew. And that's all I gotta say about it. Some people say it's
Yeah.
rude. I'm real and it just is and it's unfair. It's unfair for because it happens a lot with women. Like we are supposed to go off of personality, but it's okay for you as a a XY chromosome haver to I'm just supposed to care about your personality.
Or the dick pic. Or they just send you the dick pic. If their profile picture is their dick, or they send you a random fucking dick pic, and then you're supposed to be like, oh my god, that's so amazing, I want to jump on that.
Ooh, but then they get mad when I be like, ooh, why are you sending that to me instead of going and praying to Jesus about why he sent that? Like, I'm not who you need to be talking to about that. I told one dude, I said, ooh, that looks really skinny. Said it looks really fragile. I don't think you need to be talking to big bitches, right? And he was like, really? I said, yeah, I don't think that I don't think that's what it is. But I love thick women. I get it, but I don't think that it's built for that. It looks fragile. It looks like it bends really easy. And he was like, well, what would you suggest? I said a chastity with a key that you get to somebody else. I don't even think you need to. Now you're not talking to me. Now I'm blocked. I don't understand why I'm blocked when you ask me for my my real and raw opinion. Chastity, lock it away.
That's what I don't like. All my inboxes, dudes. It's like if you look at my profile, I already have two dudes. What makes your dick so special that I need another one in my fucking life? Especially when it looks like that.
Can we talk about it? Oh, I do this to you. You know I lay with penis every night, right?
Uh huh.
I lay with it every night. And it's attached to a man that I adore. Shocker, I know, right? So when you're coming in and offering me subpar penis with a non-existent personality, bitch, let's be the fuck for real. I'm
Hmm.
uninterested. And why does it look like that?
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so like I have two dudes at home, and then I have another partner who I can change her dick out to whatever I want it to be.
You
So
know what I'm talking about?
why do I need that crusty looking dick in my life?
And
Why?
that is my biggest thing because if people led more with their
It looks like it.
personality, if people led more with their personality, if people, I asked somebody, I was like, okay, do you think I'm attractive? Well, yeah. I think you're attractive. Okay, you think that you're the only person on set trying to be attractive. Well, no, of course not. So what are you doing that stands you out from everybody else that's in my inbox? And he couldn't answer it. I said, and I think that you need to sit in that because I feel like it's a valid question. What is it that makes you different? Because I'll tell you one thing, I could have no legs, no arms, three teeth, no hair, and still get people talking about, ooh, you bad. I ABC. It's not as hard to come by as you think that it is. It's not. So, and even if you were attractive, that makes you unattractive. But I also want to put out there that I don't often find men. So there's that aspect of it. So you gotta have a personality because I'm automatically side eyeing you because you're a man and it's not you don't have titties. You don't have titties.
Okay, so back to that conversation at TNG. You want to rethink your answer to that conversation at TNG then?
What we talking about?
When Ty said you
I
don't
will
even like
deny
men
it
for
every
real, for
time.
real.
I've never admitted to him. I don't care if he is who does the whole editing of this podcast. I do like men, just normal ones. Normal
I'm
ones.
sorry, love. That is normal. We like exceptional men.
Okay, okay, okay. I'll take exceptional people that are able to hold a conversation about other things outside of their wants and desires and all of that. Like,
We like exceptional men.
damn it, that that's because the bar is in hell. Um, I think that talking to me like a normal human being shouldn't be too much to ask for. Like, okay, you think I'm attractive? That is amazing. But I will say this. I have realized that there are a lot of people that move how they move because other people don't have that same expectation. And that's fine. Once again, I'm not here to judge other people's expectations. However, men and women, okay, because I'm shitting on men right now, but y'all be out here weird as fuck too. Because I've been trying to delve into that pond.
Good luck.
Hey, it is tragic out here. Like for so long, I was like, oh, I'm like, oh yeah, men be so weird, yada yada yada. Who when the women be like, yeah, girl, power, and then my behind will wake up in the morning and boom, it's like, good morning, titty pic. What do I say to this? Because I didn't ask for this titty pic, and this makes me extremely uncomfortable. Now I'm waking Ty up, and I'm like, I don't know how to respond. And he's like,
I
what's
told
wrong?
you how to respond. That's some nice areolas.
Luckily, I haven't experienced it. I feel like I experienced it since. I feel like my discernment is better. But
Women are a whole other beast entirely. Because you get it. Okay, so like if you have a woman that you're speaking to who is like a lesbian, who don't deal with men at all. Now that's like, ugh, you have a male partner. I don't know. Are you gonna leave him? I don't wanna kiss you after you've kissed him. I don't wanna do this after you've been with him. Like, when are you leaving him?
and then it's be like, oh, okay, thank you for bringing that up. I'm not.
And then you have the U-Haul lesbians who after 2 weeks be like, oh, we married now.
That throws me off. But I also realize that when talking to women, um,
Rebel over here.
that when talking to women, I think that that's what they be looking for, and I move the same way with men as I do with women. right? So I expect conversation, I expect connection, I expect communication, I expect all of these things. And if I don't get it, then it's like, okay, well, you know, we could be cool, but there's nothing more that could happen with us. I'm uninterested in all of the things. And I know that for a lot of people, posting titties on FET and then commenting on FET is that's FET, but I should be able to send you things. But for me, you post your titties on FET all the time. You talk about your sexual wants and desires on FET all the time. I know what you want and desire. I know what your titties look like. I know what your ass look like. And a lot of people I know what everything else look like too, right? And okay, that's great. But I want to know the things that you're not sharing with everybody else. I want something intimate. And when you are able to like share all those parts, there's nothing wrong with it, but it takes away the intimacy. So now I want to see what's up here. I want to hear and share what you don't share with everyone, right? Because some people are exhibitionists. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I want something that you kind of keep to yourself. And it shows me that you're interested in me more than you are with other people. And that engages my attention. Not a good morning with titties.
I think that's what kept Rebel around, because it took a long ass time for like me to even like talk her into sending like a sexual picture, because I wanted that. Like, I haven't seen you naked in a while, send me a titty pic. But no, like in the very beginning when we were just talking, it was very much like she would send me good morning videos, and it would be like while she's getting ready for work, but she's already clothed and she's like saying good morning to me. Or she would send me videos of her like studying when she was doing like the real estate stuff, or send me videos of the animals, or send me pictures of like what she was doing at work, and like, this is what I'm doing today. And in the middle of all of this,
That's
I'm
a
thinking
great
about
idea,
you.
Rebel. I'm totally stealing it. I'm totally doing videos. I'm gonna be like, this is me in the morning, getting ready.
But yeah, no, she would. She would like get out of the shower and get dressed, and while she was like doing her hair, or packing her lunch or making her coffee, she would like take a little video and like say good morning to me and show me what she was like making coffee or packing her lunch. And like, it was those things, very like, this is my day and I want you to be a part of my day,
Yes.
not this is my body and I'm just thinking about you because I'm horny. You know what I mean?
And that's a thing as well. Like, I don't like that. I want to be more than just something that is sexually inviting to you. Like, I want you to. People are like, oh, what makes the difference with men that have been? And I had to sit in that because I was like, I don't like men, and now it's like women. I don't really like them either. A lot of the times, and um the ED was like, well, what made me different? What made this person different? What made this person different? I said, they cared about my day. They listened. He listens to me and he's able to be like, oh, he would be like, oh, I know that this is going on. How did this go? How are you feeling? I know that you said yesterday was stressful. How's your emotions today? How are you managing them? Those things shows me that you care about more than just the superficial things. And that is what attaches me. And it's crazy because I mean, I guess him and I are probably lesbians because our connection was strong and fast. Like, the as fast as those emotions, the panic was real for me. I was like, "Up, here you go, doing this same shit that you do with all now. Now you about to be out here looking stupid, And then when the dynamic ended, because we talk about that a lot, he's gonna be bad. He may not be bad, but like I talked to him about the need to feel secure. He's like, well, it's always been secure. I was like, no, it hasn't. And I was like, because technically, I felt left when we ended our dynamic. Like, I can't go back and look at what it was with the dynamic because it ended. and then we didn't, like, we were cool, but we didn't talk for like 2 months like we used to, and it felt like a breakup for me because I invested all of that time. Our connection was so strong, and then we had to come in and figure all of those things out without a dynamic. So you can't say, oh, you should feel secure. I was with you at this time, because that became null and void when it ended. You know what I mean? And so I'm realizing, like, yeah, that's where that safety comes in. That knowing, okay, well, that isn't it. You like me as your dominant, but I'm not your dominant anymore. So where do I fit in? Where is that protection and that safety for me? And I realize that with other people, when they lead with that, like, I don't. There's somebody that I'm like talking to, and recently, she was like, oh, I never asked you for your honorifics. And I was like, oh, ma'am, it's fine. She was like, oh, I should have asked sooner. And I was like, no, I like things to flow as they flow. When you view me in that way, it will come to you to ask me for that. I don't want it pushed. I don't want it to just be like, you call me ma'am because that's what I told you to call me because I'm a dominant in this bitch. Like, that's not what I want. Like, I want it to be, I want it to naturally progress how it should progress, because it means more to me that way. It means that we've gotten to a space where you see me in that manner versus me demanding that you see me in that manner. And so I do move a lot slower than a lot of people. I'm not as demanding as a lot of like guy D types are, to be completely honest. Me and my mentor, like, he was like, oh yeah, because I do this and that seems real Neanderthalish. Like, I don't wanna beat him over the head with a club and drag him by their hair. Like, that's not what I'm looking at. Like, that's not what I want. Like, I want it to naturally evolve, because for me, I'm not an aggressive dominant. I'm not here to do all this correction and all this conversation. No, when you come to me, I want the submission to be submission because you want to submit. And then that way I don't have to put you in a headlock and say, who you talking to? Ain't nobody got time for all that. I got kids for that. Like, I don't. So, once again, ADHD, I just go away. It's either ADHD or because I finished the wine. But anyway, it goes. I don't want to put you in a headlock. No. I want non-pushy submission. That means more to me than anything else. I feel like we've been talking about that. And it's getting late.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, y'all. So, I think this is where we're gonna end it, because me and Joy, we can talk for forever if you let us. But thanks so much for coming in and tuning in. Once again, so sorry that we didn't have one last week. We were tapped out. Well, I can't say we. I was tapped out. And so, of course, if you enjoy our content, don't forget to like and subscribe and share. I do believe we have a Patreon. So, and that's free. So feel free to join that. Eventually, we will be getting things together to where you can see the uncut and all of the nitty gritty that we cannot show on YouTube, because my mouth is like a sailor. So
Also, we're on TikTok now.
we are. I'm trying to do better with this. Like, I'm trying to like add little clips and snippets and find. That's difficult. I don't want to talk about the schematics of all of that, but yes, I am sharing them under my Miss Locs profile on TikTok. So feel free to follow. I don't know. I don't have anything else. Do you have anything?
Nope, that's it.
All right. So thanks so much, and we will tune in with you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.